If you're watching this, you've probably played the other 300 games leading up to this one, or you've just started playing Kingdom Hearts 3 and you're having a bit of a hard time getting used to every little inch of this game thus far. Or you're like me and you want to run through this game before Missing Link in Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out. But worry not, never fear, I think I can help you. I've beaten this game like 6 times and twice in critical mode. I think I've got a few suggestions for you. Step 1. Get to know your Keyblades. Every Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts 3 has a form change. Think of them like your drive forms from Kingdom Hearts 2, except there's a new one for every world you visit, and then some. For example, the Kingdom Key has one form change called Second Form. I'll show you what it's like right here. So, to charge up your form change, above your command deck to the left, you will see a right-facing arrow-shaped gauge. By dealing damage, your gauge will increase and will be displayed by the 3 arrows. Once the 3 arrows have finished charging, you'll be able to unlock your form change when prompted by pressing Y, triangle, or whatever button it is on PC. You'll notice the combos you were doing have changed to resemble the Kingdom Hearts 2 late game combos. You'll probably also notice the situation command for stun impact. These are one of the many finishers you'll have access to. Keyblades in Kingdom Hearts 3 have up to 2 form changes depending on the key. For example, the Kingdom Key only has 1. However, the Kingdom Key is one of the only Keyblades in the game with multiple finishers. The others are your version exclusive Keyblades that will change depending on what system you're playing the game on. PlayStation and Xbox have a reskinned Starseeker, and the Epic Games, Switch, and Japan exclusive 7-Eleven Keyblade for some reason are reskinned Star Cluster Keyblades. Each one has a unique bonus. I've only ever used the Phantom Green and the Elemental Encoder for the Xbox and Epic game respectively. But anyway, they all have the same finisher. And those finishers are Stun Impact, Sonic Blade, and my favorite, Ars Arcanum. To get to the latter 2 finishers, you'll have to fill up your gauge again before your form change timer runs out. You'll see here in a bit. I first want to talk about switching between your reaction commands. You'll notice Splash Run appeared above the command deck, but since I don't want to use that one, we'll touch on that later, I'll swap between that one using the left trigger on my controller. Once I have selected it, I change it to my new form and start racking up my gauge again. I'll see Sonic Blade after 3 arrows have filled up. Unfortunately, I'm too OP and I ran out of enemies for Sonic Blade, but you'll just have to play the game to see for yourself in action. Lastly, we have Ars Arcanum. I'm a little far away from where it'll be easiest to showcase it, so let me show you one of the best ways to maximize your form change potential. Here, I've gotten my second form already, but I'm super far away from my destination, and there's no way I'll be able to make it there before my gauge runs out. So, a neat feature of Kingdom Hearts 3 is that you can equip up to 3 Keyblades at one time, at all times, to swap freely between them at any point. However, when you do that, you'll also store your form change and the timer freezes until you use that specific Keyblade once again. While I make my way to show you the finisher, I'll let you in on a secret that you probably already noticed that the game can't even show you: how to unlock the Oath Keeper and Oblivion Keyblades. The Oath Keeper and Oblivion Keyblades were both added in 1.07's update, which was a free patch in the game ahead of Remind's release. To unlock the Oath Keeper is a pretty simple task. Goofy mentions here something about a lucky emblem. Well, there are 90 of those scattered throughout the game. Remember when you were a kid and the Lion King 1.5 DVD had a game built in with hidden Mickeys? Or if you've ever been to a Disney World? What's the difference? Anyway, you've seen the hidden Mickeys arranged across the theme park. Well, it's like a mini scavenger hunt. I honestly recommend looking them up. I've memorized quite a few locations from sheer number of times I've played this game, but I still rely on IGN or a video walkthrough of all the locations. This makes it a lot easier to unlock this Keyblade, and it's probably the easiest one to unlock with all the busy work attached to it. You can do this in any difficulty, and Goofy, Donald, or even Sora will let you know when you're near one. However, for the Oblivion, it's a little bit more difficult, but way more straightforward. To unlock the Oblivion, you first need to just beat the whole game, all the way to the credits, on a critical mode. It's a triumph if you can do so, but I promise you it's worth it. My recommendation is to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and just play the whole game in critical mode. The Oathkeeper will be unlocked before the final world of the game if you found all 90 emblems, and the Oblivion will be unlocked once you finish the credits. Also, just a fun little tidbit, beginner through proud mode have a different Nomura art piece for when you finish the game than critical mode does. Both are really cool. If you can beat it in critical, I suggest looking up the proud end screen. Having both the Oathkeeper and the Oblivion will be very helpful for Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. So just because you get one of them post-credit does not mean it won't be very useful. If you do decide to forego the Ultimate Keyblade, the Oblivion is a very close second. Though, I do highly recommend the Ultimate Keyblade. It's not as bad as the grind is in Kingdom Hearts 1 for it. It's fun in some areas, RNG in others. Honestly, look it up. I think it's worth it. Anyway, back to those finishers. Something else worth mentioning is that you can farm the form change gauge by dealing damage with a different Keyblade first and then just watching your gauge fill up. It's a bit easier to wait until there's 2 arrows, as sometimes you'll land critical hits, which will make the gauge's arrow shoot up faster than you're probably ready to, and will give you the form change for the blade you're using instead. It's not the end of the world, you can always activate it and store it for later. Here, you'll see me switch between my other 2 weapons each time the finisher changes to rack up that damage until finally, Ars Arcanum activates, and then I can hit Y to finish. Now, next up are the attractions. I'm not going to actually show them to you because I want you to experience it on your own, but I do want to talk about them because they're a lot of people's least favorite part of this game, but I personally enjoy them. However, I can see why some people might find them annoying. The trick is to switch between form changes, attractions, and team attacks with the left trigger so it doesn't feel like the game is bombarding you. Typically, you'll be using team attacks and form changes more than attractions, but they're very important to keep in mind. As I said before, the arrow gauge above the left of the command deck fills up with damage, and considering the amount of damage you're doing in this game versus previous titles due to the sheer amount of enemies, it's easy to fill that gauge up really fast. If you don't change up your playstyle, it'll feel like the game is playing itself for you. However, Kingdom Hearts 3 is more about crowd control than any other title, especially on critical mode. You should be using your attractions to your benefit. They do expire and you can't save them for later like your form changes. However, if the going gets tough, you should be using them. You'll probably be utilizing team attacks more than attractions in certain situations, like Flare Force, as you're gonna see here. I'll admit, you'll probably be using team attacks way less on beginner, standard, or even proud, but you'll be needing them more in critical mode for sure. The biggest complaint I see about attractions is that they take too long and they're too powerful. However, I think what takes longer is mashing the A button to attack large swaths of Heartless at one time. There are a few things you can do to speed up your game, such as turning off your form change animations, turning off attraction animations, but something I notice is that they do a lot of damage. Just the animations alone do so much damage. I recommend keeping especially form change animations on throughout your playthrough. You can turn them off, but you're sacrificing a large damage output if you do so. And I kind of think it's worth it, especially on critical. For more advanced and seasoned Kingdom Hearts players, I highly recommend playing this game in critical mode. If you're looking for a breezy fun time and kind of only want to focus on the story, then yeah, play in proud. However, as much as I love this game, standard is far too easy and beginner is, well, it's for beginners. But I think even if you're a beginner, you could be trying this game out in proud. However, going back to our last topic, any difficulty that isn't critical mode will require a second playthrough to unlock the Oblivion Keyblade, so choose carefully. And as always, it is way easier to unlock the secret ending in critical mode, so I would recommend it just for the story purposes, you know? Anyway, speaking of those 2 Keyblades, Oathkeeper and Oblivion have some of the most powerful form changes in the game. Oathkeeper's first form is Light Form, and Oblivion's first form is Dark Form. Oathkeeper is one of the strongest magic Keyblades in the game, if not the strongest, and Oblivion is a strength-based Keyblade. Based on what playstyle you want, either or both would be a fine addition into your inventory. They both share a final form, which does more damage based on what form you started off with, called double form. And how about you see for yourself? These Keyblades have the exact same finisher, and they're very similar to the attack that Roxas uses on you in Kingdom Hearts 2, where the sky opens up and pillars of light come flying towards you. Now, you have that power. As I've stated earlier, there are form changes for every Keyblade. If you've played Birth by Sleep 0.2 and saw the cutscenes, and literally every other Kingdom Hearts game, save for Dream Drop Distance, you'll know Sora will probably make his way to the Coliseum again. There's a pretty cool Keyblade for that world. I'll be showing you that one, and 2 others that won't spoil the new worlds for you at all. First up, we have the Hero's Origin. Next up, the Shooting Star. And finally, the Honey Spout. Let's start with the Shooting Star's form changes. If you're familiar with Wisdom form, this first form is very similar to it. Reminder, you can scroll through your reaction commands with the left trigger to get to any of them in any order. Now, this first form is called Double Arrow Guns. This form does very fast damage, so it adds up quickly. The second form of this Keyblade is called Magic Launcher. Sora gets a huge bazooka and explodes everyone in his path. He can even swing it around for damage. Pretty cool early game weapon. The Magic Launcher's finisher is, well, much like the Magic Launcher itself. It explodes. Next up is the Hero's Origin. Its form change is called the Counter Shield, and it's pretty cool. Your Keyblade turns into a shield you can frisbee around. This is also a perfect time to show you a returning mechanic from Birth by Sleep, the Shot Lock. Unlike Birth by Sleep, each Keyblade has a unique shot lock here. At max, the Hero's Origin shot lock is called Atomic Deluge, which does a big chunk of damage. At anything less than max, you get Drain Shock, which gives you health by draining that of your enemies. Every shot lock does something unique and different, and it's fun to mix and match, so try them all. Every form change has their own unique combo you should try, so keep that in mind and change up your playstyle every once in a while. Moving on to the finisher. I'll just show you.
I see you. I see you.
Lastly, we have the Honey Spout. It's what I like to call an Echo Keyblade. There's a small handful of Keyblades that mimic the form changes of other blades, such as this one and the Shooting Star. The version exclusive Keyblades and a secret Keyblade you'll get later on will echo the Kingdom Key. The Hero's Origin also has an echo, though that one is unlocked through cooking, which we'll get to in a bit. The 2 form changes of the Honey Spout mimic that of the Shooting Star, except they have the added bonus of slowing the enemies down, because the honey sticks them to the floor. By pressing the right trigger in either of these 2 Keyblade form changes, it'll give you an auto shot. It's an over-the-shoulder view that you can aim better and shoot faster with. Much like the Magic Launcher, this Keyblade finisher will explode as well. However, it'll leave a pool of honey on the ground for enemies to get stuck in further. One more thing you should know about forms is that there's another form change, and it's not locked behind a single Keyblade. If you've played Kingdom Hearts 2, you might know where I'm going with this. Anti-form is back, but this time, it's not a punishment for using drives too much. It's a failsafe in case you're about to get bodied by a swarm of Heartless. It's called Rage Form in this game. Rage form, unlike the other form changes, replenishes your health, and I always recommend it. It's a better alternative than dying and starting over. Unfortunately, you can't use magic or items in this form, but it does damage very fast. I'll show you what I mean. Enjoy the showcase. Another neat thing that's new to this series is that Sora is a chef now. That's right, he cooks, and he's pretty good at it. I won't say too much, as I'd love for new players watching this to experience it firsthand, but you do get a Keyblade for cooking a majority of the recipes that you have access to, and gaining an overall 5-star rank for your cooking. You'll see where the rankings are when you get to this point in the game, but the Keyblade you receive is actually one of the most busted magic weapons in this game, and it's actually very fun to use, as it does specific elemental damage that you'll see immediately, once you access its form change, however. The meals also give you buffs, bonuses, and extra magic, and spells, and these foods are a must if you plan on doing the game in critical mode or the Remind DLC. There's also another Keyblade you can get, and I put it off for like a year because I didn't care about the thing that you need to do to get it, but it's actually pretty fantastic. It's another magic Keyblade locked behind Classic Kingdom. I'm just gonna tell you now that you need to collect all the Classic Kingdom games and play all of them and get any score, and you'll just have this goofy ass Keyblade. I won't spoil the actual weapon because it's kind of hilarious, and I'd love for people who haven't seen it to actually see it and laugh with me. All you need to know is that it has 2 forms and it's an echo of another Keyblade, and it's stronger than its predecessor. And I know the meme rings true in gameplay, but Donald kind of isn't a reliable healer. You can actually now edit the behaviors of your teammates. Located and customized, you can see an array of different options. Once that'll make your party members be sure to KO enemies before moving on to the next ones, and once that make it so they'll only heal you, and not your party members. So, now you can finally tell Donald to heal you and control the frequency in which he does that. Something else I recommend is utilizing all 3 shortcut decks. There are a lot of handy items such as the Refocuser and the Elixir, as well as your basic potions and ethers that deserve to have their own slot in the late game, separate of your magic of course. You can also do what I usually do and equip all the magic in descending order, but leave Cure mapped to the same button for at least 2 shortcuts. Something small, but I thought it could be helpful. Lastly, if you're still on the fence about the Ultimate Keyblade, I will now convince you. If you like to not be spoiled, skip to the end of the video, but if not, feast your eyes upon the Ultima. Probably my second favorite Keyblade in this game apart from an early game weapon. You'll see what I mean. Enjoy! Okay, and that's gonna do it. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of form changes, saving them for later, and my summary of the team attacks, attractions, and other little things that'll make your life a bit easier. If you're playing Kingdom Hearts 3 in Critical and you plan to play Remind and Limit Cut, I suggest taking all of these skills and extras that the game gives you. It'll be worth it, and in the end, it'll leave you with a less frustrating experience and a more fun one. I didn't break down everything this game has to offer, and there are some new surprises, some old mechanics that this game brings back from previous titles. I just showcased the things that you might miss, as the game doesn't tell you what to do all the time. And hey, who knows, when Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out, maybe I'll do another one of these if you guys would like it. And be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and follow me on Twitch for Kingdom Hearts videos and an assortment of other fun titles. We have fun there. Yes, don't go to sleep with any problems, Hakuna Matata. Also, check out my other videos. Anyways, see you later. Thanks for watching, and I hope that this helps you.